Welcome to Elena's Barre Low Impact Full Body Workouts. On this channel, you find different fitness format workouts that will help you to lose fat, tone up your muscles, improve your posture, balance, gain overall strength, stamina, endurance, and flexibility. Check more classes on Elena at Elena's Barre Patreon. Join us for my crazy piano practice and various music challenges with Elena's Barre community on Sundays. Try out different comments during our live streams and see what happens. On Saturdays, we talk about controversial topics that can trigger you. If you'd like to dive in deeper into interesting topics and discussions with us, please support our new YouTube channel, The Resurgence, at The Resurgence of Sanity. If you'd like to call in and share your story during our live streams, please check our community rules and guidelines. You can also read my articles on Elena's Barre Substack and tell me what you think about the topics. You participate in all of our activities voluntarily at your own risk and discretion. Read the disclaimer in the description box. If you don't want to be mentally or physically challenged, I suggest that you skip this video. Thank you for your understanding. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. It's Saturday. I honestly miss you guys. I miss our conversations. How are you doing?
Hey guys, doing good. How are y'all?
Good. Yeah, I'm excited about today's topic. It's been a while since we wanted to talk about single mothers, and we just had Mother's Day, right? Was it last week? Yeah, it was. Yeah, not that far ago. And we have quite a few shows connected to single mothers. This is why we are going to talk today about single mothers. And I see George Bruno in here. George, please join us if you can. I did share the link in the chat, so just click on it if you have a chance. We would love to have you here. And yeah, guys, okay, let's begin from the basics. What is a single mother? And why do they choose to be single mothers?
Aren't they like widows and orphans, Steve?
Well, a single mother. Well, let's answer Elena's question.
Okay.
Single mother is a mother raising children without the father around. So now to answer Nick's question, hey, there are 3 conditions that cause single motherhood. Do you know what they are?
Divorce, not being married, and being widowed.
Oh, 4 conditions.
Oh, is there another one?
Okay, widow.
Really obvious. Yep.
Single mother.
Okay.
Divorce instigated by her.
Oh.
Or divorce instigated by the man.
Okay, you put the divorce in 2 different categories. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when it talks about widows and orphans, is there really only, so how many of those categories fit being a single mother? Is it 1 or 1.5 of those categories?
Well, it's definitely not being married. If you're talking about widows and orphans and these categories, I'm making notes here. So we have in the first category, divorce instigated by a man or a woman, not being married.
Well, I want to call that 2 categories.
Okay.
Good, because divorce instigated by her is her walking out.
Right.
Divorce instigated by the man is abandonment.
Right.
For the sake of this argument. So she could have not protected her, not acted prudent before marriage. It just happened. Or widow. Okay, that's completely not her fault. And abandonment, well, we'll assume that's not her fault, but sometimes men have reasons for leaving. But let's not go there today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But if she instigated it, the majority of the time, she's going to have to take the majority of the responsibility. I mean, yeah, there might be those outlier cases where she had justification, but seriously, right now in divorce, if they're instigated by the woman, generally there's not great reasons for it.
Right.
Well, she would say that it's irreconcilable differences.
Yeah, what a broad category. That's kind of the catch-all.
Oh man, I see that all the time when I do district court case reviews for my occupation. I have to look at marital settlements, decrees, all that stuff. It's always irreconcilable differences. You know, they can't get along together, so somehow, some way, you know, ends up. Rarely does it end up them being reconciled. It's irreconcilable differences, so it can't be reconciled. But yeah, sometimes it does. But
well, yeah, we didn't we touch on that on our last
Well, this is why I said it, because you just mentioned
unreconciled.
Yeah, you just
She's
mentioned
not willing
it
to
on
talk
Wednesday.
to reconcile them.
Right.
Yeah. I see that even when women say that the man left them or he wasn't worthy or something changes, especially if she surrounds herself with single women, if she hangs out with a lot of single women, sometimes they will brainwash her into leaving, even if she is married. So I see how society is pushing women to behave this way, and it almost like they have this nuclear bomb that you also mentioned, and then they give it to a woman and they tell her, don't press this button, but if you do so, you'll be praised, you'll be a single mother, you'll get more benefits from the society, right? You'll
be a single mommy hero with cash and prizes.
Right. So it's like we tell to women, oh, ladies, don't be a single mother. But then everybody else is encouraging being a single mother. You see how many social programs are for single mothers. And also the school system is like offloading your child on the school while you can do your other flexible job, while the ex-husband is paying for the alimony and child support.
Yeah, well, there's the women, as you mentioned, her friends encourage her.
Yep.
Oh, you're not happy. Okay, do this. Then society and the government enable her. And so they provide a support network. So she thinks, oh, freedom, because I'm strong and independent. In no way is she really independent.
Yeah, right.
She's enabled by the state, and the state picks up and enforces and pays her money, or pays her money through their programs, and then comes with her to in the court to force child support, even beyond what is reasonable. Because my income was imputed. I had to pay child support on an income greater than I made.
Wow. So is it based on the lifestyle that she's used to have?
Each state is different. Each state is different.
Okay.
But like each state has different calculations. Some have alimony, some don't.
But at the time, things were just absolutely booming in the oil and gas business. Remember back when, this was what, 2008 or 9?
Oh yeah, like it was booming.
And oil went up to $140
I remember
a barrel.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
My dad was happy.
It was booming, and I kind of hung up my own shingle and was independently consulting. I made a shitload of money that year. And then I went to court after that because they postponed when they were going to set the child support. And then the female judge looked at it and said, well, if you made that amount of money, you can still do that because you're an engineer. Not understanding that the economy changed, the system, it was no longer possible, that business cycles affect a man's ability to earn. So, nope, you still have to pay based on this phenomenal, exceptional period of income that you were making. Okay.
Wow.
Well,
And they pick the good time as the example, and then you are supposed to live up to your expectations.
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. What's crazy is the kids they raise too.
Yeah, well, this is where I was trying to get Nick. You kind of stepped ahead.
Sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Let's talk about kids. So I'll look at it from media viewpoint, and I analyze content on social media. I see a lot of single mothers on Instagram in particular who are saying that they are fempreneurs and business owners, and they are mother of 3, mother of 2. I don't care. They usually put that they are a mother. They say that it's something to be proud of, right? And I didn't bring it up to Pearl when I asked her, look, how many dads do you see doing the same thing? Saying that I'm a business owner, I'm a fempreneur, I'm a provider, I'm a man, basically, on social media. I haven't seen men do it, honestly. I only see women that they get social proof, they get validation. And then the kind of content that they post, it's either feminist delusion, delving deeper into self-love. I just talked to one single mother a few months ago who blocked me. She blocked me because the kind of content that she's promoting on her social media account creates more harlots. It creates more degeneracy. It creates more promiscuity. And she has 2 sons that she is not thinking about. So I challenged her based on the content that she was providing, and she is all about self-love and the feminist crap.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, look, your sons will be abused based on what you share there, based on how you use the social media. But this is the income. This is what I do for a living. Well, you chose to leave your husband, right? It wasn't like she's widowed. The husband is still there.
You know
now
what?
She has to sell bullshit on social media so that she can sustain her lifestyle.
She wrecked her husband's life. He might eventually do better, but she also wrecked the lives of her children.
Yeah.
Raising weak men with no frame, no sense of strength, not knowing how to rein in their emotions and properly utilize their emotions, but being overly emotional.
I'm going to take the stance of supporting single mothers in this stream.
Okay. It's going to be funny.
So you're playing devil's advocate?
No, I'm not going to simp for them. Okay, that's going too far. But okay, we can talk about what got them into the situation, and we will. But the reality is, okay, she's a single mother. She got here for some reason, and it could be not her fault.
It's true.
Or it could be her fault. But she's in this situation now. So from that standpoint, your framing of this, is rehabilitation possible? Well, not all of them need to be rehabilitated. And some of them Well, is it still the proper framing? They're in this situation. They need a way out. They desire a man for support, for sex, for all the reasons men like or women like men.
So
So
Steve,
even it. Go ahead.
Are they for recreational use only, according to the red pill?
Yes. I mean, I have to. Is there another answer to that? No, and that's maybe being a bit too harsh. It's not a good idea to date a single mother. It's not optimum. There are problems there. Is it impossible? No. Does it happen frequently? Yes. Can good come from it? I think in most cases, yes. It ought to, and it's possible, but it doesn't. So that's what we need to talk about. Why does it work out so badly for the man dating a single mother, and actually for the single mother herself? What can turn a woman who is in this situation through widowhood, through no fault of her own, or through past actions of her own? I think the same thing is basically required.
So is it because of the authority? The man comes in that was not the father of the children. He comes in and he has to interact with her kids. They're her kids, right?
I think you're getting somewhere here, Nick.
I think that a new man can't take authority for her and for her kids.
Why?
Well, it kind of depends on the age of the child, but usually children, they don't accept any dad. They want to be with their biological father, and they wouldn't listen to the new dad, especially if she breaks up when kids are, 7 years old, or like they have the consciousness and they've seen the real dad. And it's going to be hard, even to gain authority over her, because she wouldn't listen. There is a reason why her prior marriage broke up, and I think this is what men who are thinking of wifing up a single mother should investigate, and maybe talk to the man that she was previously engaged to, to see what happened there, because she will only sell her side of the story, right? And then when a man
hold on here. Are you saying that the majority of single mothers lie and deceive the new guy about what the truth of the situation was?
It's possible.
No. Okay, I need a yes or no answer. Do the majority of single mothers lie when they're looking to find another guy, marry him, whatever?
I would say so, because I've seen women lie about their status, that when they are trying to find a guy and they are looking through different platforms, different social platforms, they could even say that they don't have any kids, but then during the conversation, I've seen it happen, a woman would spill that, oh, I have to take my kids to the parents, or to the school. And then the guy would be like, wait a second, you didn't mention it in the dating application that you have children. So a lot of them, they will actively hide that they have kids until they hook you up, and then you have no choice but to take care of you and the children. They realize
those are the worst women who lie about not having children.
Right.
The majority of women do a much simpler lie.
What's that?
It wasn't my fault.
Oh, yeah,
of course it's
obviously,
not.
of course, it's never your
For
fault.
you. Yeah.
Well, and this is
No,
why I'm
yes.
saying that if men investigated, if they
I think
didn't
that's
just
good
take
advice.
her part of the story, but actually listen to the guy, made an effort to go to the guy. I know they could be kicked into their teeth or something, but it should tell you, like, if the man is reasonable and she left a reasonable man just because of her fifis, or somebody told her to leave that man, or she came up to that conclusion by herself, then we could actually prevent a lot of men getting themselves in trouble.
Right.
By wiping these women up.
What's interesting is I think men, like, look, sometimes men, they really don't, maybe they should investigate, but they hear what they want to hear. That means they can get the magic hole, the wet hole. Let's just say, and they convince that sometimes they want to live in the fantasy where they think they're getting what they're getting, and they don't want to be told otherwise.
Hey, what was that famous phrase that Ronald Reagan used when he was dealing with those evil Ruskies?
I don't remember.
Trust, but verify.
Verify. Oh, yeah, I know this phrase. Yeah. Trust but verify.
So, okay. So far, you're just talking about, advice for men dealing with single mothers. Isn't the same advice apply to men dealing with any woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Investigate her past. Remember, how many times have I said what women lie about?
IPA.
Infidelity, promiscuity, abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that leads to guilt within her. And so she is going to develop a narrative that shows, I am good.
Mm-hmm.
And it was somebody else's fault
Always
that brought
is.
me in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to investigate to confirm. And, that narrative is really destructive to her. Does she, and you can figure this out. Does she have any humility over her current situation? Does she ever talk about the things she did wrong? It's kind of easy to figure some of this stuff out. Those are your first couple clues when dealing with a single mother. I'm not going to tell men don't do it. I'm not going to tell them that because it's going to happen. Just have your eyes open. Be aware. Be cautious. And, I married a single mother. And it didn't turn out so well. But while we were married for 7 years, it was pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have the authority. It wasn't, we didn't explicitly talk about that, but I did have the authority. And I had the responsibility for providing. But ultimately, when things got difficult, she pulled that authority back and said, "These are not
no longer." It's like teasing a dog with a treat. I just had this kind of analogy when you say that she pulled that authority away from you. Like when you want a pet to do something, you tease it with a treat. This is how women kind of behave. So they are like, okay, man, now here is the treat for you, but I can always take it away from you at any moment. The moment you don't comply or the moment you don't do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she did one better than that. She went back and invented a narrative from before we got married.
Oh, I had that happen too.
And then accused me of being a bad person and grooming her children. Which, hey, I was the perfect adoptive or stepfather. I pretty much did everything right in general. You're going to have some friction with your kids, with the kids
you always
and whatnot.
do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I treated them as my own. But okay, since she could anchor her feelings based on some pre-event, that negated everything good that happened after that. Any support, any positive thing, it in her mind, it just wipes all that out. And so she's justified doing what she does, whatever she wanted to do. It's a narrative. It's projecting the guilt that she felt, which were in the areas of IPA. I'm not specifically accusing her of any of those, and those are not specific, that there can be other actions that kind of trigger the same level of guilt.
See, for women, it doesn't matter if the story is true. It's if they feel if it's true. If they can convince themselves, not truthfully, but if they have the sense that this is the truth because I feel it so, because it gives them an escape, it gives them an excuse, and they can rattle off that crap to their friends, their church, the judge, the lawyers, all that stuff.
Well, and because nobody verifies.
Her feelings are real. Therefore, her feelings are true because they're true feelings. So, therefore, facts don't matter if they go against her true feelings. So the narrative is developed. Oh, that justifies my feelings. And then that narrative can be told to other people, and other people, especially other women, say, oh yes, I understand. And they I don't know if I used this before. Women placate and pander to each other.
They do.
So that we call it empathy. It's not empathy. It's placating and pandering. So then she gets the support and the affirmation of other women who believe the narrative that supports her feelings. And so none of it is based on facts or reality.
I've seen it happen. Yeah.
Well, that happened to me. I found that all the text messages. I'm like, what the? This was happening. I had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh.
You found out how many girlfriends she had there whispering into her ear.
All the Christian ladies, her Bible study friends, and so-called pastors' wives.
Yeah.
What a bunch of whores. What a bunch of CUNTS.
Well, and then when you look at every institution, pretty much, church is only one of those institutions. You look at college, you look at school, you look at medical system, right? You look at government. Like who is there presiding? It's women. Women are easily deceived, and I think other women know it. This is why they know how to frame it, and nobody is going to challenge them. Nobody is going to say, like, wait a second, or like even ask them questions. This is why women don't really like me, because they usually don't complain to me, because the moment they figure out that I'm going to dig in and I'm going to ask them uncomfortable questions, they either, and then you can actually tell how their narrative shifts away. Like they don't they don't really stick to it. They try to, they start deviating from it. And this is how you detect lies.
No, it's deflection, and then they bring up another thing.
Another thing, it's very detailed, it's like every time a new thing comes up, and I'm like, last time you told me it was a completely different story. So it's either you are lying, you are coming up with some stuff, trying to convince me desperately that was the truth, when I know, in fact, that you are lying, because your story changes every single time you tell it,
So, Elena, how many friends does a woman have if she tells the truth to other women?
Ooh.
I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I can tell you one thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't suffer from it, It's like, I don't understand this obsession. I would much rather prefer a truthful friend who would tell me the truth rather than a snake who will bite me behind my back, you know?
Yeah, you're not doing it right.
Well, right.
The way women work is you placate and pander to their face, and then you gather all this information, and then you go gossip and stab them in the back with all the other friends and gossip about them. You're just not doing it right.
Right. You know what? I'm okay. I don't need these kinds of girlfriends. I don't need. Well, actually, let me take it back. I do have a few married women that I talk to. You know, they're not like the closest friends that we gather and gossip. We occasionally visit each other. You know, we talk on the phone, but it's related to like what happens around, you know, or like sometimes it's the family news, but we don't gossip about like what your husband did, you know, or like what she did, what she's going through. I usually don't care like what women are going through, because it's like everybody has their issues, right? It's how do you solve them?
Yeah, so let's get back to single mothers.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be men hopefully watching this who are in their 30s and 40s, kind of single mothers.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. That might be all that's left out there, because the women who never got married are often bigger 304s than the women who did get married and rebelled and filed for divorce. And that covers most of it. Okay, so when you're in your 30s or 40s, you're not going to go for okay, if you're in your 30s, like Nick's age, yeah, theoretically, you can go for a woman who's 25, who might not have kids. At my age, 61, yeah.
Good luck, Steve.
No, I'm not going that young. No. I didn't even talk to them. They're just their brains are barely formed. So if I was to find another woman, she'd have to be, maybe 10, well, at least 10, maybe 15 years younger. Because I still like attractive women. And let's face it, women, when they hit 60, not so, it's kind of, they're past their sell-by date. So, okay. So men are dealing with these single mommies, and they might be the best option out there. So what do you do? Okay, well, I have some advice. Yeah, talk to them, get to know them. It's always good advice. Do not get sexual too soon. I mean, ideally wait till marriage, but okay, just think, don't let your sexual passion color your view. Mm-hmm. So you got to be slow to get hooked in, because that infatuation takes hold and you're not thinking very good. And so in the process, you got to wait at least 6 months before you decide, because that's okay. Infatuation is endorphins and dopamine, and that really is so unbelievably strong in the first 6 months. It's like you're living the first 6 months on cocaine. So don't make any decisions in the first 6 months. And then you're going to have to determine, okay, now is she a quality woman when you get your wits back? Mm-hmm. And, okay, does she have any humility? Does she have taking responsibility for her actions? Is she expecting you to come in and support her and her kids? And the big one that you're going to have to figure out is, okay, if I'm going to take responsibility, I need total authority over you, authority in everything except matters of grave sin, everything, which means you cannot hold your children apart and say, no, they're my authority. Well, if they're under her authority and not yours, she's being defiant of you. She is not in submission, and she will use that against you.
Mm-hmm.
She will.
She will.
And so that's the issue. If you're going to wife up a single mother,
don't
get it on paper. The authority, absolute authority in the home is yours.
Yeah, but I don't think.
Can a leopard change his spot, Steve? Or a tiger change its stripes?
Theoretically, it's possible because everything is possible with God, but the likelihood is not real high.
Are they going to take responsibility? Well, what the hell got them in that situation?
Exactly.
Hey, Nick, haven't you heard of repentance?
Yeah, I have. It's just really
So
rare
what
to see
would be
it.
what would be
Even though they-
repentance for a single mother if she, let's
They
say,
relapse, though. That's the thing.
okay,
Oh, okay. Well, can you answer that question, Elena? What does she need to repent of?
like if she wants another man to come in and solve all of her issues, take responsibility for her, what would be her repentance?
She most likely got into this situation because she rebelled against her previous husband. She needs to be complete repentance of her rebellion and acknowledge that with humility and some form of penance. Now, a widowed woman, she may not need the repentance because she didn't rebel, but she also needs to do the same thing. Give her, the new man, 100% authority over her children. Now, okay, this doesn't make the man a tyrant because a man is totally accountable to God. And he is answerable for everything that he does. So for the woman saying, okay, I trust you because you're responsible to God, she does not need to ride herd over him in his actions. Because that is a guarantee for a disastrous situation.
He's going to be under a microscope constantly. Is there a hint of sin here where I can disobey him?
But hey, see, that's why I said matters of grave sin.
Exactly. Not
sin. It's not, oh, you're not leading me the way Jesus would lead me. No. Is this grave sin? Am I telling you to sleep with another man? Am I out there sleeping with another woman? Did I tell you to murder anybody? No, none of these little things. No, that's not what it's about.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. Then, considering the modern state of our society, what do you think would be the most convenient outcome for her? Her rebelling against her rebel, and submitting to the new man who comes into her life, or being a single mother and raising kids by herself?
She shouldn't have the kids. That's the solution.
Well, ideally, historically, the kids belong to the man.
That's right.
Not the woman.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, we're not going to fix that. Does she really care about her kids?
The fact that she is single tells me that she doesn't care about her kids, because only men.
And the proof is, the facts, hands down, say that kids raised without a father or a father figure around turn out worse.
Yep.
Is she putting her own selfish desires above the best outcome for her children? Okay, she's in a shitty situation. And it's time that she puts her children ahead of her desires. And putting her desires ahead of the children, most likely, in most cases, not all, but in most cases, is what got her into this situation.
Yep.
Which is what another thing she has to repent of. She is not the most important thing on the planet. The world does not revolve around her and her entitlements.
Take her off the pedestal. She needs to take herself off the pedestal, too. So the pedestalization of women in society. Not just do men simp and do that, but society does that.
Themselves, and like society,
and women do that to themselves.
Yeah. They do it to each other. This is why they pander to each other. They say, like, if a woman gets the rights to the child and to the man's resources, and she keeps the custody of children, then she can be comfortable by herself. She doesn't technically need a man. And then when there is this question between choosing her freedom and sacrificing her so-called freedom to be with a man who would take full responsibility and authority for her. See, she replaced the man. She replaced the purpose of the man with the government.
Yep.
So she doesn't need a man. She technically doesn't need a man well, I mean, like, realistically, yes, she does. She still relies on man's alimony and child support, right? But it's so convenient for her to live by herself that she doesn't suffer any immediate consequences. The uncomfortable consequences that would keep her together with the man, or at least incentivized to be in the marriage with the man.
They are really immoral. See, what they do is they rebel against God's order, and they submit to a tyrannical, ungodly, abominable government, which the United States is and the state governments are, which further enslave men for her to pay her. And she wastes the money.
In practice, that's what happens.
We don't have any debtors' prisons, but except when men don't pay their child support.
Right. But then what's the enslavement for her?
She basically just, she has to live in submission to a government, but she's free to act according to her desires, pretty much with no consequences.
Pretty much. And in a lot of these cases, she's not living a celibate life as a single mother.
No.
So even there, she's not putting her children first.
And that's a lesson they're teaching our kids, too. To be worthless pieces of crap, dependent upon government. And then...
well, if you're not... I'd put it differently. You're providing an example that if you're not happy... If you're... To her daughter, she's providing an example. If you're not happy, you can leave.
Yes.
And to the sons... she's providing an example. Well, don't trust women, so don't get married and just go out and have your fun. But yeah, you got hell. If you actually make a commitment to a woman, remember, there's two. I just came up with this today. You ever heard the statement that it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind?
Interesting.
And have you ever heard the one that a man is only as good as his word?
I've heard that one, yeah.
Okay, now let's flip that around. Have you ever heard the statement, it's a man's prerogative to change his mind?
Huh.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Or
a woman is only as good as her word. No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons I don't have a lot of girlfriends, because I noticed that working with women, they always change their mind. They don't stick.
Well, it's like we said, when you're married, like this is they're single mommies because guess what they did? Life was going well, then they had some emotional reaction or something happened in their life where they felt guilty or they thought it was better to get out. And guess what? She realized, oh, there's incentives for pressing this button to blow up this marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Short-term incentives. But
Well,
actually,
why do you think their credit scores are crap? And why do you think they keep buying so much?
Okay, she might live pretty well for 5 years, maybe even 10 years. But eventually the man will get his shit together, most men, and can recover. And so when she's 60, she's not going to be living a great life because, okay, if she gets divorced when she's 32 with kids, well, that'll carry her through till mid 40s. I mean, a woman at 40 still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
At 50, yeah, can. From 50, it's all downhill for the beauty of a woman.
But then they start relying on their kids for provision.
Yeah, and that might not work so well. So in the meantime, over those intervening years, she's either been married again and probably divorced again, or she's went through a series of boyfriends. And so by the time she's 50, she hasn't really had a very good life. And her prospects of getting remarried are not great. And her prospects of getting married to a man better than some of the decent guys they divorced earlier are not great. So, okay, what is her best option? Celibacy, humility, repentance. And then if you find a decent man, you need those. You need that humility. You need to acknowledge what you did. And you need to put yourself totally under his authority. I think that's your best option.
Mm-hmm.
And get it. And to any man considering this,
prenup.
I'm prenup. Basically put it in writing, and not just a prenup, a marriage agreement.
There you go.
That dictates how things will be done during the course of the marriage, not just what happens when it dissolves, or if it dissolves, I should say. So the man has the upper hand. If a man is dating a single mother, okay, great. Realize you got the power. She's kind of desperate.
Yep.
Do not give away your power to her. Get it in writing and dictate the terms to her, because in reality, she's desperate. She won't let you know that, but she is.
Well, yeah, her looks are fading away. She won't be able to whore around anymore. I mean, eventually the looks will fade, that nobody will want her.
Well, exactly. Why do men marry a woman? He marries a woman in her youth.
Exactly.
She has her fertility. She has her beauty. She has something of value.
Mm-hmm.
And after 25, that value starts declining.
Yeah.
She can't get the best deal when she's 40 or 45 or 50. What is she going to give him? What does she have to offer? A man offers his life and his work. Okay, I get your beauty and your fertility.
She better cook some good meals.
RSVP,
better be a good
respect, sexual variety, and peace.
Yep.
Basically, no nagging. Okay, so now, she's just not that hot when she's gets up there in age, but she feels more entitled.
Oh, they usually do, and what fascinates me, guys, I see a lot of women on social media, a lot of older women. They tell younger women how to behave, right, with men, how to treat your husband, and they mostly give horrible advice to younger women because of their entitlement. Like the older they get, the more entitled they become. And the less value they can objectively provide. They think that they are these wise creatures that men want.
Mm-hmm.
They think that with their proper guidance, a man will succeed. And men need their wisdom. The man who achieved, the man that they want, who already has achieved a lot of things in his life, they think that they are such a valuable resource to this man. If anything, they believe
let's
that.
Think about this. She comes carrying her baggage, her kids. He's now providing more, taking on more responsibility at the beginning.
Yeah.
And she's offering him less, and then actually withholding authority. She's being defiant by not giving her everything and not obeying him in everything. Because no, I have the authority over these kids, which I'm expecting you to provide for. It's a horseshit deal.
It's bad deal. Bad deal.
So, that's why I'm saying she needs absolute humility in acknowledging her system and to put it on paper that he has the authority. Write it down and hold him to that. Okay, now is it still a good idea even in these circumstances? Probably not. But yeah, men are still going to get themselves in this situation, and they're still going to want to marry her. Okay, I'm not telling you what
because
to do,
most guys aren't
self-reflective.
All they think about, they don't think with their big head. So,
right. And like you tell the men, be more masculine, right?
Like
even if they put it, guys, let's look at this scenario. Even if they put it in a contract, right? And let's say they sign this contract. If men don't know how to take authority and how to be masculine, they won't be able to lead. So they will be violating their own contract that they've just signed, because a woman can only give away her authority to a man if a man takes it, right? If a man behaves in a masculine way. But most men today are just, yes, my princess, yes, sweetheart, you are here. Let me clean the poop after you. Like when men behave this way, they don't show that they are capable of taking authority.
No, and that creates two things in a woman: contempt and disgust.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take your authority over a woman and tell her what to do and be the kind of man who can command her and stand on your ground. Okay, this might sound harsh, but if you don't take the lead, she will have disgust and contempt for you. Now, if you do that, and she has a personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissist personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, any of these things, holy shit. I've been there. I've lived that. I understand both borderline and narcissistic. Undiagnosed. It's my observations, but I understand the behavior. Damn. I seriously, there is no solution when you detect that. Right, Nick?
There's nothing you can do.
There's absolutely nothing you can do.
Yeah,
So
and
screen for those behaviors
Oh.
too.
We live in a cluster B society when almost everyone you watch on social media has some kind of psychological disorder.
Well, that's because they're raised by single moms. They're screwed up from the get-go, and they're pumped full of all this crap as kids. Oh, we have problems, so let's create more problems by pumping them more full of crap instead of addressing the root problem. We make these. It's like a chaotic spiral. We don't ever fix the problem. We just keep treating the symptoms and wondering why everything's going to shit.
Well, but are we even treating the symptoms? Like, what fascinates me is that people realize there are problems in our society, right? But they're like trying to like get away from the problem, by coming up with all of this fluff and saying to men that, oh man, you man up, and you wipe these 3 or 4s up, and do your job, man. But then we don't actually fix the female behavior. We don't address the problems that women have. We are like a society, I'm talking about, like institutions, right? You notice that men are being criticized for their behavior. There is overcorrection of male behavior, and we are talking about masculinity here, right? When we see, even in the red pill, we are so hyper-focused on how men behave. They're either simpy men here with the traditional conservatives and institutions, right? Or they are still doing something wrong. They're not masculine enough, right? But
no, okay, I'm going to disagree. There's undercorrection of men's behaviors and vast, astounding, humongous undercorrection of women's behavior. You can't say the men are criticized too much. They're not criticized enough, but there is zero criticism of women and their behavior.
And it's usually the men aren't criticized in the right area either, though. That's the thing.
Right. Would you agree with me, Nick?
Oh, yeah. Like even when I did when I was doing applications, like I do, like, it was really interesting. Some of the elders would get, people in the church would get so mad. I'd address things for people, and I'd give like 5 applications to men, and then I'd have 1 application to women. And what's the one thing they all heard and got mad about?
Tell me.
The 1 application to women.
That that wasn't approved, or what?
Oh no, how dare you? Well, probably because they got an earful from their, overbearing wives. So they came after me. I was like, man, I'm trying to help you guys.
And see, men are willing to work on themselves. My point is that, yes, maybe there is undercorrection of men, but I look at it from like female standpoint, so I might be wrong, right. Just how it looks for me. So we have the tradcons, they're preaching to men, simp for women, pedestalize women, basically man up and do what a woman wants you to do. And then we have the red pill that kind of says that, man, you need to be more masculine, which I agree with, right? So there is a lot of addressing of male behavior, but we don't usually address the female behavior. We don't tell to women, ladies, don't be whores. Ladies, don't do this. Don't leave your husband because it's bad for your children. Think about your children. Like, how many institutions are tailored to dealing with female behavior?
Well, think about this. The red pill guys, I mean, the fringe, whatever, say, men, you need to learn to adapt to this. It's all the women's fault. And you go on the tradcon side, and they say, oh, women, we are so sorry that it's the bad men who are all at fault here. So there's a difference in, okay, the red pill doesn't really hold men accountable enough. Okay, they encourage them to become better men, but they're really not holding them accountable in the same way as the Christian church does. And the Christian church doesn't put any blame at all on the women. They just want to welcome them in. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like the sinner returned.
Mm-hmm.
A lost sheep was found. The prodigal 304 returns home without any humility. But now we need to kill the fatted calf and have a feast. Sorry, you're missing the point. The prodigal son is a good story. He came back with absolute humility. Father, I have sinned against you in your house. I'm not worthy to be your son, but just let me be your slave. That's true humility.
Yeah.
Now, this son previously asked for his share of his inheritance.
And he basically spit on his father.
Yes, but there's a distinction here. He got his inheritance. Did he steal from his father?
No.
No, he got his inheritance. Do we have any evidence that he badmouthed his father while he was out doing his own thing?
No.
No, he didn't steal. He didn't lie. He didn't defame any of that. And he learned his lesson and he came back with total humility. Now, these women, divorced women, typically who divorce their husbands, they tell lies and they steal his children and all this crap. And then they want to be rehabilitated and come back. Were they wrong in what they did? Even if they divorced for a proper reason, did they use it for their financial advantage? Sorry, that's theft. And then you come back without humility, and you're blaming the man still. You still have no humility. There is no celebration here unless you fulfill the terms, the same conditions of the prodigal son return.
That makes sense.
You know what? I should have been a pastor, Nick.
You should have been a pastor. Yeah.
Well, you would have got the same treatment as me and my friend.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, these effeminate, ballless pastors.
You're welcome to preach here all you want. All you want. Yeah,
they simp and let Jezebels in the church. Yeah, these single mommy heroes. Oh, I'm abused. I mean, their husband said, maybe, it's like me. It's like maybe the kids shouldn't be running in the middle of the street with cars passing by.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
Oh, I guess that's, emotional abuse. How dare you? You're a narcissist.
But then,
you grab the child and you give them a couple swats on the butt, because don't do that.
Then you're an abuser.
You are abusing them. And other than just reminding them, don't go out and do stupid things that could get yourself killed. Who's abusing them now? It's you.
What a crazy world.
Yeah, but then kids get in trouble because she allows them to do everything that they want to do, and they're kids. They don't usually know. They can't really think. Sometimes sleeping would be like the best thing to do for them.
Well,
so
yeah.
they would, so it would click, like, oh, okay, I shouldn't do that. But
that's discipline. It's not abuse. Come on, let's.
Well, they don't want to be disciplined, and this is what they teach their children. No discipline for the kids. And as a result, we see these useless, worthless members of society that create more crime, more damage for other people.
Yeah. So I don't know. What more do we want to talk about?
Can they change their spots? Can they really? Can a leopard change his spots? Can the tiger really repent? Do we see any examples today of single mommy women that did demonstrate that humility, that did repent?
I can tell you one example that I've seen, and I've heard it. It's Rachel Wilson.
Okay. So it's possible.
Okay. Was she promiscuous?
I don't know.
No. She made a mistake with a boyfriend, got pregnant. Married with the best intention, got pregnant again. But she wasn't out there running around. She seems to be a woman that had humility and understood she was in a horseshit situation. She's talked about telling Andrew, you know what? You should just get away from me because I am not of the quality you need. That's humility. And she also wanted the traditional relationship. So my guess is she said, okay, you're here. I'm under your authority, and so are my kids. And it's clear that Andrew, well, he's an exceptional man with that firmness of will. But, he has the authority, and it's working. So, yeah, can a leopard change its spots? Absolutely, it can. But it's very rare.
It's very rare.
Very rare. And that's why you got to look for humility and acknowledgement. And the man needs to keep his power. Okay, it's not going to happen very often, but it is possible. And it's easy, if your eyes are open, it's easy to determine if these things are evident, which dramatically lowers your risks of doing this. If you don't see these things, run fast and run right now.
Get the hell out of there.
Well, because by
Save yourself.
supporting them, look, by supporting these women, what men are signaling to them is that this kind of behavior is okay and repentance is not needed. So if men wipe these women up without any conditions placed upon these women, they're saying, okay, we take you the way you are with all of your imperfections. So a woman doesn't feel any incentive even to work and improve on herself. So setting higher standards and expectations for women.
Well, I think what you're saying is, yeah, a man can forgive her past or forgive her actions in the past, but he cannot forgive her unless he knows about what he's forgiving, and he should not forgive her unless she's repented.
Yeah, but repented, like not just by words, because a lot of them would say, I've repented my sins, and like without paying any penance and without actually doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, don't pay no attention to what a woman says. Watch what she does.
That's good. That's good red pill advice.
Okay.
Yeah. And advice for women would be, what would you say to women, guys?
Me?
I already said it.
Yeah, I know you said it. Like
humility. Humility. Admit where you were wrong.
Yeah.
Admit it, and show fruits of repentance. Their lifestyle must show that they have changed, that they've committed to being a humble, godly woman and owning their crap, and not keep spinning stories and excuses and look at what principles she expresses and with the children that she has.
That's a good point. What does she teach her children?
I need to point out a great opportunity and a benefit for women. If you come in with humility and truth and acknowledge your past, there's the potential for you to be loved for who you are. If you come in with a fake thing and hide this under the rug and pretend it didn't happen, you're wearing a mask. Yeah. And the love that comes your way will never feel genuine, because you will always have that doubt that if he knew who I really was and what I'd done, he wouldn't love me. So, you know what? Do you want the chance for real love? Or do you want to just get fake love? It's up to them. There's an opportunity here.
It's very good, Steve.
It is good. I have a statement to make here. I often hear that men say, like, as long as you're honest with who you are, then you'll be repented. Like, just be honest with yourself. What would you think about this?
It's missing part of the equation. You must commit to, you must recognize, okay, who you are, that you've sinned against God, that you've committed sin, and God requires repentance. You can't just say, yeah, I messed up, and then just keep going on.
Mm-hmm.
You have to own your crap and change, which you can do by the grace of God working within.
Yeah, because
And,
I also...
and in marriage, the two become one. And if you're withholding this knowledge, and this is really important stuff, you're withholding it from your potential spouse or husband, you're not truly repented. You're not truly having humility. It takes courage. It takes risk. And sometimes when you screw up, you basically have to be naked. Metaphorically.
Yeah.
And you have to say, this is who I am. You have to take off all these coverings that cover up and disguise who the real person is underneath that. That's where it's at.
Well, and I think this is how women take this information and they misinterpret it, because I see a lot of healing practice for women about finding who they are, all of the therapy that they're going through, and they want to embrace who they truly are, and then they fall in love with themselves, who they became in the process. And it's like trying to approach the problem, but with the wrong in a wrong way.
Yeah, they're on a journey to find themselves while they're running away from the truth.
Sorry, when you say they're on a journey to find themselves, I'm thinking of all the women traveling all over the planet, until they're like 33 and they're ready to settle down and find them a man. You know how many times they've probably been rough.
It's not the only thing they do. They usually do a lot of affirmations. They delve into this self-love, coming back to that self-love guru that we talked earlier today, who teaches to women, embrace yourself the perfect way, the way you are. And then a lot of women, instead of admitting that they did something wrong, they realize that even if they did something wrong, they still should love themselves for the wrong that they did. It's still part of them. It's part of their being. It's part of who they are. And then they delve into that delusion, that it keeps them further away from the truth, like Steve mentioned.
Yes, but women do love who they are. They have a lot of self-love. That's why they have all those handheld shower heads.
So if they have so much self-love, why don't they want to be loved for who they actually are instead of hiding their bullcrap?
Well, because
it's scary to be loved for who you are, because there's a chance you might not be loved if you showed someone who you really are.
True. But there is also this element that only she can truly love herself, and the other person, it feeds into the feminist narrative where they say, don't do anything for the benefit of the man. Don't trust men. All men are evil, so you can't rely on the man. You must be strong, powerful, and independent. So they can't allow a man to love them for who they are, because they reserve that for themselves, because they love themselves, and therefore they don't need the outside love from another person.
Sounds
And
like a lot of witchcraft, but
it is. This is why I'm digging into it, because I've seen a lot of women as even like the divorced women, like that self-love guru who is preaching self-love to other women, and it sells. I mean, women are buying this crap instead of listening to us. Honestly, I hope that by the end of the show we will get maybe a few women watching it. And ladies, if you are watching, please say hi in the comments. But a lot of women, instead of finding the truth, they prefer to dive into their delusions.
Yes, and they go to the self-love gurus, which is
Mhm.
professional placating and pandering.
They only go and listen to the confirmation bias that already confirms their beliefs. They don't want to challenge themselves, even though the challenge is good and healthy for them.
well, they can't ever be told they're wrong.
Well, people do not like to change. I've heard it said simply, people don't change, they adapt. That's true. In order to change, you really need to have humility. And that's something that's in short supply in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
You mean they're not the, man is not the be all end all? That, we can't
No,
just
and you, okay, we're talking about women here. I know a lot of younger men, and they don't like correction. They don't really deal with conflict, or an older man telling them, okay, it's really this way. And they kind of get butthurt. And frankly, a lot of them act like women.
Oh, it sounds like a lot of times they didn't have a dad correcting them growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of it.
Sometimes I get butt hurt, but you know what? It's usually something my dad said. Then I'll call him the next day. I said, "Yeah, Dad, I was being a little, bitch." Basically, I said, "You're right, Dad."
But it's loving correction. Being corrected is not out of anger. Well, I guess sometimes it can be, but it's not out of hate. You're my best friends. As I've gotten older, my best friends, the guys I really respect, are the guys who will tell me if I'm full of shit and challenge me. Because if he just blows smoke up my ass, I don't really trust you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, what women don't understand that correction is discipline.
And it's love.
And it's love. Yeah. It's done for the best purposes, for the improvement of the self. And if they don't want to improve, they just degrade. If all they do is just hear the confirmation bias, how awesome they are, how amazing they are, it downgrades their ability to think. It downgrades their humility, because they start believing that they are perfect and everybody should just give them the things that they want. It leads to entitlement. I don't think that they see it like what I would call entitlement and bad female behavior. They would say that I'm wrong for pointing it out, because they don't see it as a bad thing, because they were never taught discipline. They were never taught, they were never corrected. Even if they have dads, a lot of dads are pandering to women too. They are pedestalizing. This is why when you are dating, it's important to see what's the relationship like in your family, between your parents, because even if she has a dad, he might be a total simp. Mm-hmm. And then he's not of much help, neither for her nor for her mother, and for as a result for our society. Because a lot of people, they have dads, but their dads were not raised how to be masculine, how to be rational. Like, it's a generational cycle. They can't pass on the knowledge that they don't have to the upcoming generations.
Yeah. Women do not think in the abstract. They basically feel everything based on their experience, what they've experienced. They can't fathom consequences or things that they have not had direct experience doing. So if a woman's not raised by a father, a loving father that disciplines her, but which means putting boundaries on her behavior with consequences, and having that relationship from an early age that, oh, he's in charge, he puts boundaries, and that's instilling discipline. And he still loves me. Oh, okay, a man can do this, and he still loves me. If that doesn't happen, and she doesn't have the experience of that happening with a man who loves her, her father, because he's the primary man that loves her without sexual desire for her. Okay, so now she grows up and she didn't have that. And now every man she encounters, and she has not had any experience having boundaries put on her, she's going to rebel against that. And then, oh, this man has sexual desires for me. He's just trying to manipulate me to get in my pants. Well, okay, there is some truth to that. Because her father is really the only man
who
can love her without that sexual desire. Now, okay, you know what? Just because there's fuckheads out there, yes, there is bad things that happen. But that is a small minority. I'm talking in what is generally true, okay? So, you know, I don't want any of this pedantic arguments. Whoa, father can do that too. Screw you.
Pretty much. You know what we call those people? Sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then notice they are trying to repeat the same cycle with their children. When women divorce their husbands because their husbands are placing restrictions on women and boundaries, they're trying to discipline the woman. And the moment he disciplines her because she's not used to that kind of experience with her dad, she rebels against him. She takes the kids away from the father. And then her children are going to repeat her cycle over and over again.
Always repeats. Men who are raised by an overbearing, bossy mom somehow end up marrying a woman who turns into an overbearing, bossy wife. Because it's familiar. Unconsciously, it's familiar. So you recreate the situation that was normal that you experienced while you were being raised. So single mothers raise children to be raise daughters to be single mothers, and raise sons to impregnate the single mothers.
Or to be simps, because they would also say that the first woman that these boys are going to praise and pedestalize is the mother herself.
Yeah. So
and then she teaches,
the simps are going to be controlled by a bossy woman who their mother was bossy because she booted out the father and said, I'm going to do it. I'm strong and independent. So she's creating a son to wife up a woman who's going to do the same fucking thing to him.
Yeah. Okay, Timothy wrote here a comment. Can we talk about the church's responsibility in this as well when you see pastors start playing matchmaker for the single mothers after they show up for 3 or 4 Sunday services? I think we've talked about it before during this live stream, but yeah.
These pastors are simps.
Mm-hmm.
Pastors basically have no balls. If any persecution came, they'd cower and cave. They'd be the first to take it up. Don't trust them. I mean, there's rare pastors out there that are good, but they're go ahead.
You expect pastors to be different than the population in general? How many masculine men do you encounter compared to how many just go along guys? Okay, pastors come out of the general population.
Yeah.
You're looking for pastors to take authority. They come from the general population. Not going to be any different.
They're probably
on
raised
a
by single
basis as everyone else.
Also raised by single mothers, probably.
And a lot of them are raised in the egalitarian, complementarian, basically the castrating men paradigm.
Yeah.
A lot are.
So you're going to get more castration, more wrecks, more pandering to delusional women who are going to, make a man's house his hell. So.
Yeah. And then I actually believe that custody should be given to men. This way, we could actually mitigate the female hypogamous nature. And I mentioned earlier in one of my short videos that when female nature and hypogamy are uncontrolled, it leads us to chaos. It leads us to open relationships on her end and closed relationship on his end. So a man still has the burden of performance. He's supposed to provide for a woman. He's supposed to take care of the family, right? And he has to contradict his biological nature, which tells him inseminate as many women as you encounter on your horizon, right? So
I would say that's his fallen nature.
Well, right. Well, like we are holding men to higher standards. Men are not allowed to do that without a bulk of criticism today. Women, on the other hand, there is no such thing as controlling female hypogamy, even in the red pill space. If you analyze it and if you look what red pill guys say, I did bring up this example that men must become, but women just are.
You know what? I'm going to push back on that. This idea that man wants to spread his seed far and wide. That's not okay. I've had my fun. I'm not a perfect man. But my desire was to have one woman have a family and devote it to the family and to raise the next generation. I wanted a legacy.
Same here.
So I didn't want to go out and screw other women. Now, even men that is a huge desire for men. But I do understand that even men with that desire and intention can go out and encounter another woman and be tempted and actually mess up. I do understand that. But that I think that's a temptation and he screwed up. But that doesn't negate a huge desire for a man to have one woman and raise his children.
But even their desire, Steve, takes self-discipline. Because if men are not disciplined, they will spread their seed as wide as it goes. And they won't be able to refuse the biological programming. And
What
I
do you
think
call
the
those
same,
guys?
the F-boys, the
Yeah, fuck boys, playboy.
yeah, playboy.
Okay. Hey,
Fools.
what was that last word
Fools.
you said?
Fuck boys.
Boys,
There you go.
not men.
Not
They're
men.
boys.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah, actually, one of the cases of effeminacy historically was not just a man that was womanish, but was a man that was not a man. Like, he refused to take responsibility. He was all about wooing women and seducing women and having his fun with women. Some of them call that man effeminate as well.
That makes total sense.
So Steve's right. It's like a boy.
Well, but then these women who are uncontrolled in their raw female nature, when they can't control their hypogamy and sexuality, they are not women. They're girls. Look, we have the fuck boys, we have the fuck girls, right? I mean, why not to have both? So that, like,
Yeah, but I don't like that analogy because it implies men like to fuck girls. Nah.
No, but these are not even men. These are not like true men. These are not mature men.
I know.
The disciplined men. These are these men are only for one purpose, I guess, for recreational use. And then you can say that the 3 or 4s or
For the
the
streets?
women, the women who belong to the streets, yes, the women who are hypogamous, that don't control their hypogamous nature, they are only for recreational purposes. They are not women. They're not like mature women. They're not marriageable women.
No. Well, in the ancient world, a lot of these women that would leave their husbands, they lost their, they didn't get the kids, and they end up having their hair shorn and being whores.
See,
Or living on the edge of town.
Yeah.
And cooking herbs, being witches, and reading tarot cards.
it's kind of what is happening. Like, if you actually analyze content on social media, like you glance at girls, what they do, there is a lot of witchcraft, there is a lot of self-love, there is a lot of feminist bullshit that they are spreading to each other. This is what they do. And I honestly, in my opinion, they are not marriageable material women. I think men should stay away from these women.
Yeah, you know what irritates me about the red pill? They keep talking about hypergamy. This is the big issue.
Yeah.
Hypergamy, and it's always hypergamy. You know what? Hypergamy exists. It's kind of immaterial. It's really rebellion.
Yeah.
It's rebellion. You know what? It's hypergamy. Okay, fine. But acting on that is rebellion. It's rebellion against the hierarchy. It's rebellion against your husband. It's rebellion against the social order. It's rebellion against God. It's
rebellion against the design for your
do.
desire. It's rebellion against God's intent for those desires.
Right. So, you know what? That's one thing that the red pill gets wrong. They blame all these things on women's hypergamy. No,
yes,
it's women's tendency to rebel, which is greater than a man's tendency to rebel. Although both happen. Remember, the woman was the first instance of rebellion, and then the man simped and went along with it. Just go back to Adam and Eve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we better call this.
We are going to wrap it up. Yeah. Guys, if you have any thoughts, tell us. Okay, we already read this comment. Sorry. Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Yeah, I'm not a fan of single mothers. I'm not going to tell men that, look, men in the end are going to do what men are going to do, right? If they choose to date single mothers, it's fine. but be aware of all of the red flags that are associated with single mothers. And I kind of like how Paul from Common Man podcast takes it, because he doesn't recommend younger men to date single mothers. But if a man has his own children and they are grown up, and then due to age, like Steve, you mentioned, like most likely women are going to have kids at your age, like, okay, but again, realize the risks associated with that. Because most women today are going to be single mothers, just because of the society we live in that praises horse and single mothers. Like, most women will end up being single mothers, you know. So
I wouldn't recommend dating single mothers.
I wouldn't either.
I just don't. Just save yourself. Don't risk it unless they meet those very extremely rare qualifications. As a Christian, you would have nothing to do with them. See, the red pill says basically they're just recreational use only. Well, you know, the Bible says, and God designed us not to be man whores or whores. So, don't do it. Submit to God and either remain celibate or contain until marriage.
But most older men probably won't be able to hold it in their pants. They will.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I said. I agree with you, but I know it's going to happen. And a bunch of you who watch this, you're in that situation and you're not going to leave that situation. So that's what my advice was throughout this whole thing. Yeah. Okay. Don't do it, but you're still going to do it. So now here, walk in with your eyes open.
Yeah. Because statistically, I mean, I wish I could say that, avoid single mothers completely, because they prioritize themselves over their families, over their children. In most cases, I'm not talking about this anecdotal evidence when a woman loses her husband because he dies in war, or some other accident, because accidents happen, right? I'm talking about most women who initiate the divorces themselves. They unilaterally take that decision to remove the father from their children, and they take the custody. It's like they use their children as puppets to extract more resources from a man. And like, when a woman behaves that way with one man, this should be a red flag. She already ditched one man for a better lifestyle. She already threw her kids under the bus, and she will keep throwing them under the bus to pursue her happiness.
Yep. Hey, now let's end the stream, but I have to call Elena out. She said she was going to do something. She didn't do it.
Oh, what? Did I forget something?
Yes, you forgot to shout out our new channel and tell everyone to subscribe to the Resurgence.
I was thinking about it at the beginning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it at the introduction video, guys. Okay, so here, let me showcase the schedule of our activities here. Thank you, Steve, for reminding me. I was about to do it. Yes. Here you go. So please join us on Saturdays for these deep dive conversations with Nick and Steve, and sometimes my husband if he wakes up. And then we debunk feminist lies with Eamma on Tuesdays. Here is the schedule. And on Mondays and Wednesdays, at the Resurgence of Sanity, guys are running very interesting conversations. Please join them. You will learn a lot. I always learn a lot from their discussions and also from talking. Man.
And Monday, we got a kick-ass one planned for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's necessary. It's, if you want to know what's going on in the red pill sphere and whatnot, this is a must watch.
Yes. I'm so excited about this show, guys. I'm going to be watching it, but I'm going to be behind the scenes in the comment section. So if you want to join us, remember to say hi and please subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity and to Elena's Bar Fitness also. Remember that your comments are highly appreciated. Tell us what you think about the topics in the comments, and we are looking forward to seeing you soon. Yeah, thank you guys. It was very interesting. I have a lot of thoughts. I'll try to summarize them, and I'm going to write an article about this. I'm going to write
who
an
would have
article.
guessed that?
Yeah, right. Like you see me taking notes, like you can expect an article coming maybe in a week or so, because I still need to arrange my ideas and thoughts. I'll start writing it and then I'll see. And then I'll try to keep it shorter this time, Steve, just for you.
Yeah, I scolded her. I said, well, you're a good writer, but now you need to work on being concise.
Oh my gosh. Like sometimes I try to approach it from different perspectives. I look at it from red pill standpoint. I look at it from psychological always, and also from media standpoint. Sometimes I like come back to the same idea, but from different angles. You know, this is why it's probably so long. But I'll do my best. I'll try to keep it short. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Elena is very talented. She can convey concepts that a man can say in 100 words in about 1,500 to 2,000 words.
Thank you, Steve.
That's to be expected, though.
Yeah, well, woman. Sometimes I spend time explaining some things that I hope that women read it, and for women, you kind of like they need more time to just like process, and you have to explain certain things, I think. So yeah, I know that in your mind, like, yeah, like keep it short. Men will get it, right?
Okay, there's another explanation for that. Women wake up in the morning with the need to use up 10,000 words during the day. A man rolls out of bed, he only has a need to use 2,000 words. So the problem with a stay-at-home woman, a stay-at-home wife, is he goes out to work and he uses up most of his words during the day.
Yeah.
He comes home at the end of the day and damn, she's got 8,000 words left over that she needs to use up by the end of the day.
So Steve, you and I are doing Plutarch a favor.
You pretty much. He definitely sees it that way, guys. He even mentioned it too. Yeah. Well, don't worry. I still dry his ears during lunch and whenever we gather for communication. I still talk to my husband, but he does appreciate you guys. Yes. So yeah, thank you for doing it. Yeah. Well, okay. Remember, please, guys, like and subscribe. We are going to wrap it up and join us for more discussions. We are looking forward to seeing you. Join me for my fitness classes, and tomorrow we have a live stream piano challenge, but it doesn't have to be a piano. You can submit your work. You can play any musical instrument. Just play some waltz for us, okay? And DM your videos to me on Instagram. Anyway, let me take us out, guys. Take care, everyone. Bye.